Hey guys, George here. And today what I want to bring to you are two items. First and foremost, the first part of this movie it's a video. The first part of this video will be about part 3 of 4, which is non-ordinance attacks or direct fire versus landing craft. And the last part, which will come probably next week, will be ordnance attacks versus landing craft. Now I've realized a little bit that I may have bitten off more than I can chew, because landing crafts are not easy to master in terms of learning the rules. And what I am bringing to you today is not a complete tutorial. It's my major takeaways of the rules that pertain to the topic. Okay, so that will be the first part of the video. The second part of the video will be about a comment that a user brought to my attention, and I kind of scratched my head and said, how the heck did I make that mistake? And it's about cowering. Now, in all fairness to everybody, I did create a title to that video solely in Italian, because let's face it, it took me 57 years throughout my life to do a DNA exam and find out that I have Italian ancestry, 30%. Now, how accurate is 23andMe? People have told me that they weigh in on statistics and statistical calculations. I know for a fact that as a control mechanism, I looked at the list of ancestors, and it did pick off people I could readily identify as cousins that also took the test unbeknown to me. So I'm guessing that somewhere down the line, a fellow from Italy got sick of pizza and came over to Greece, had moussaka or some other Greek food that has been heavily influenced by Turkish food, and decided to stay in Greece because they like bouzouki music better than the mandolin or some other instrument. Who knows? Anyway, I always did wonder why I liked spaghetti and pasta and pizza and other Italian dishes. A lot of people do. Anyway, reading the rule set with respect to landing craft and direct fire attacks, these are my major takeaways. Starting with Rule 12.5, G as in George 12.5, is that these babies, called landing craft, cannot prep fire unless they are fast aground and with an inherent crew. I wonder why they didn't mention beached, or did I overlook beached? Now, the reason why they can't prep fire is that they can never be stopped unless immobilized or beached, or I guess fast aground. They are always considered charging towards the beach, and once they get close to the beach within 3 hexes, I believe, if I understood the rules correctly, they have to do a die roll to see if they are stuck where they are or not. And there is a DRM associated with that, which is to the left of the MP factor, which is the +1. And the DP factor in Vassal is not actually this thing. You gotta right click on the counter, show info, and your DP is here. So this landing craft has 10 DP, and we'll find out what DP or damage points. The other one has 3. Now this fellow that is designed to carry vehicles, because they have a ramp by virtue of having their PP underlined, show info, they got 5 DP. And these fellows that are, they're designed to have vehicles as well, but they're soft targets, so they only have 5 DP as well. Whereas this is an armored target, so they have more damage points. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so they're always considered in motion. If you have some unit in shallow water here swimming, they cannot do an overrun. So that's all in 12.5. No overruns for LCs. Put this fellow back with Schultz. Good. And the PRC, I'm not sure why they include the R word there, because riders don't apply to landing craft. We only have passengers and crew. Cannot play smoke. And there is no passenger fire as well. So basically, they are hugging the ground in their landing craft, heads below the deck, until they get to the beach and unload properly, which we covered in the previous course. Guys, Nescafe, 2 creams, 1 Splenda. Or twin. Who can afford Splenda? Just inflation. I didn't say that. Okay, now, non-CC attacks versus landing craft. And they make a distinction between armor facing and star facing, meaning have you hit the armored side or have you hit um, the unarmored side? So this fellow is partially armored. You can see there are armor factors here, and the stars indicate something below deck, I suppose, is unarmored. Now, I don't know how to make the distinction because I may have overlooked that. And this goes back to me not being an expert in this or a rules master, but I'm sharing my knowledge, my major takeaways with you, hopefully to reinforce my knowledge. And maybe when I do play an LC scenario, I will reinforce it even more and do some rule book diving in depth. But a good overview of the rules is good to have, and then build on it, right? So we got something here that is very, very large because everything is in red. We have something here that's normal size, and this fellow here is just large because there's only 1 red star. And I suppose this is very large. And it's completely armored, based on what I see. Now, depending on what facing you hit, you might have to resolve the attack on the armored fighting vehicle to kill a column. However, to keep things simple, for example, this LC here with the 666 squad, the MMG and the hero, Private Ryan, if you were to attack this unit, your attack would be resolved on the star type IFT table. Okay? And water obstacles do not allow this type of unit to become hull down. To boot, I believe the firepower attack, if Schultz, for example, was firing on these units here, and they're not beached, they're moving into shore, what would happen there is his firepower would be halved. So, getting back to damage points, we see here this unit here has 5 damage points, so does this one. So let's say you are resolving on the IFT table. Let's pull out Neil's charts here. See where we're talking about. I like Neil's charts. I'm hoping that Neil is having a great vacation. So there's the star column right on top. All right, cool. See? Oops. Let's go back here. Reposition that a little bit. Okay, cool. So let's say he is firing. Schultz is firing. Here, he's still moving. He's not past the ground. He's not aground. He passed all his ground DRs. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hexes away. Schultz has 14 firepower. Halved would be 14. And since there is no 14 table to speak of, we would go to the 12 table, which is here. Now, speaking of the 12 table, the star column here indicates that my 2 kill number is an 8. So let's roll with Schultz. 2d6 IFT. Oops. Hold on, I'll roll again. I'm going to reposition this so you can see my dice rolls. There you go. I repositioned the item so we can see the dice rolls. Roll on the IFT, click, and I rolled a 9, which is one more than the 2 kill number which I needed. Remember that was an 8. I'll show you again with Neil's charts. Let's get Neil's charts out again. Where are my charts? Oh, there they are. There, 12, I need an 8, I rolled a 9. So that would be a no effect. Let's roll again and see what the dice pot gives us. Wow! I rolled a 3. I needed an 8. That is, the difference between the 8 and the 3 is 5. In other words, this thing is now annihilated. Because I would subtract the difference between the 2 kill number and my dice roll would be how much DP I inflicted. Now let's take a look at the DP counter and see how it works. I had a DP counter here. There it is. So I think you can do this. Increase, 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 increase. They inflicted 5 DP. That thing is gone. Now another thing that's important to note is that Blaze also counts for DP, for damage points, and 12.602, shock may apply to vehicle passengers but not to the inherent crew or the landing craft. And for sniper attacks. Alright, so let's say the previous roll inflicted a sniper attack and activated the American sniper. Oh well, I cannot switch sides with this fellow, so let's pull out an American sniper. No, let's say this sniper was activated and it hit the Ryan. Well, guess what? Sniper attacks, passengers are immune to sniper attacks, but not the inherent crew. Okay. So as we stated earlier in our little example, the opponents to landing craft fire at it at half firepower unless the landing craft is breached. A IFT less than the 2 kill number, you take the difference and that's the difference you apply against the existing damage points that the vehicle has, right? If the dice roll equals to the kill number, there's no effect except collateral damage on the PRC. Alright, and this is kind of fun and fast. It will be a fast video today. 14 minutes so far. Alright, 12.611. Believe it or not, landing craft are immune to flamethrowers, DC charges, and moles. And so are the landing craft and its PRC. Passengers, riders, crew. Again, there are no riders. No overruns are allowed, and if, depending on the whether the landing craft is armored or unarmored, you would treat residual accordingly. And speaking of mines, not that I've mentioned mines before, only A and B type mines affect landing craft. So that's your non-ordinance attacks on landing craft and how they work. A very quick overview, 15 minutes. And now I want to get to the second part of the video whereby we'll discuss a comment that was brought up by a user, a very interesting comment, because like I said, I made this video about everything you need to know about cowering and much more, which is here. So here's the video. Advanced squad leader tips and tactics. Stono bene e no sono un codardo. Ciao Dan. So I'm making reference to Dan, who mentions my channel on his channel in Wargaming News, and I greatly appreciate it. And since then, the channel has grown a bit, I'm not complaining. I'm pretty happy. I'm happy if I reach out to 1 or 10 people and make their life a little bit easier and happier. Why not? And this one gathered 76 views. Now, 76 views for me, that's a lot of people. That's more people than I could have fit in my son's baptism reception. So 76 people sat down and watched this beginning to end, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. One of them, I suppose, was doubled 1043. And he said, I don't think conscripts cower when directed by a leader. And my reply was, instinctively, was, where did I get this from? Where did I get the idea that, there might not be this leader exemption? And I owe an explanation as to why I thought that way. Not that I'm trying to make an excuse for myself, but thank you for spotting this. According to AID 7.9, leader-directed attacks never cower. That is true. And I decided to throw it out to the Brain Hive on Discord, and I did pose a question. Does A 19.3 regarding inexperienced personnel restrictions also apply to leader-directed fire by conscript units, i.e. avoiding double cowering penalty? So basically what 19.3 says is that, you know what, green units are, when stacked with a leader, will not be subject to these inexperienced restrictions, but, however, it always applies to, the restrictions always apply to conscript units. Well, conscript units are different than green units in the sense that conscripts never joined up voluntarily to fight in the war. They were brought there by force or legal obligation to serve their country. Whereas green units either volunteered or were conscripted, but did not gain enough experience to be called combat veterans yet. I'm on the Stormfront Saturday Discord server. Anybody would join me, I guess. All's good. And Zoltan G correctly answered, IFT attacks, as per A7.9, are adversely affected by the IFT resolution DR that results in original doubles unless a leader directs that attack. Seems a moot point unless I'm missing the point of the question. Are you asking if the mere presence of a leader in a stack helps? So this is where I said, I don't know what op means, original poster, yeah. Okay, this is where I said A 19.31 or 19.3, I thought that only green units would be exempt from inexperienced restrictions, quote unquote, due to the benefit of a leader. For some strange reason, I threw in there as a restriction, double cowering. Now, Jerry V, he's been around for a very long time with Advanced Squalier, and so has Spara, which is Jim Bishop. Having an unbroken leader present in the location cancels a number of inexperienced restrictions for green units covered in A 19.3, not just preventing cowering when directing an attack. In other words, for example, inexperienced units can only have 3 movement factors, but with a green unit stacked with a leader will have their normal 6, 4 for their own movement factors and the leader bonus for being stacked with a leader, whereas with experienced units, a leader cannot drag them more than 5 hexes for conscript units. Yeah. Note that I believe a leader in the location but not directing the attack reduces the columns shifted for cowering from 2 to 1 for green units. If the leader directed the attack, there would be no cowering. So there is, like Mark Dennehy pointed out to me, a big distinction between a leader being present and a leader directing an attack. So there's two different verbs. One is a leader exists in the same location. The other one is he's actively telling the soldiers where and how to shoot and at what distance is their target. Jim Bishop goes on to say, the way the rule reads, they should still cower. There is a Q&A negating this. Now, this is where the more experienced players that have been in the hobby since the get-go, back in 1983, have a historical accumulation of knowledge, especially if they were investing in journals and reading Q&As, that kind of puts them ahead of the game. Okay, so the way A19.3 reads, 19.3x applied to Conscript always, but Q&A says otherwise. Thank you, Perry. All right. Thank you all for your insights. I got to thank everybody. They took time to reply. JRV, I'm not sure I agree with that reading. Cowering does not come from 19.3. It is given in 17.9, and 19.33 says inexperienced personnel, or a fire group containing inexperienced personnel, which cowers 7.9. Let's shift 2 columns to the left of the IFT for that attack. Only those fire group which are subject to A7.9 are affected by 19.33, and 7.9 says that a unit fire group that rolls doubles while not being directed by leader cowers. 19.3 says that there is a 2-column shift instead of the ordinary 1-column shift for a cower roll, but it does not take away the ability of leadership direction to prevent a cower roll in the first place. The rule seems clear as written. Oh well. Dane, I've been playing a long time without reading Q&A. Never fear making an expedient interpretation so as to be present in your game. I have learned that I've done a number of things incorrectly and still do. I can safely say that my incorrect interpretations were excellent at helping me continue my game and enjoy ASL. It's not a perfect rule set, it's just more perfect than all others, and I wholeheartedly agree. I agree in the sense that, look, if you're not having fun, you're not gaming, and you're punishing yourself. So you've got to strike a balance between, getting that perfection and playing the game, which, quite frankly, a lot of people enjoy. The camaraderie, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, and just being out there and using our brains instead of playing video games. Anywho, it is nice that Perry provided further reinforcement. I don't see anything in A19.33 that means that a leader-directed attack can in any way cower. If the attack can't cower, A19.33 never applies. Okay. And he further goes on to say, 19.3 refers to a leader being present, and 7.9 relating to a directing fire. I guess 2 actions, as Mark D explained, that's me, to me. After reading 19.3 carefully, though I thought I was playing the game incorrectly. I had doubted myself, but I was playing correctly by not allowing conscript fire that was being leader directed not to double cower. Okay. Yes, the distinction is somewhat subtle. A good order leader can be present but not directing an attack. In that case, leader present but not directing a green squad only cowers 1 column, not 2. A conscript still cowers 2 columns. Leader present but not directing. If the leader is directing, there is no cowering. So, let's go back to the drawing board. How would that apply? Okay, now we know we have conscripts. Let's get yep, there it is. Okay, let's get some conscripts out. Both sides and some green units. Now, I don't think we got green units in the Axis squads. No. Or maybe, yeah. Nope. All right. Conscripts. 463. 463. Give him a little light machine gun. That's all they deserve. I should have made it a French one. Oh, it's got a leader. Single man counter. So we have Colonel Clink. Now we can put Clink in there. Name. K-I-L-I-N-K-C-K-R-K. Clink. Okay. And now let's go to the Allied OB. American, of course. Squads. Here we got some greenies. Give him a support line. MMG. And a single man counter. Use your imagination as to give him a name or not. I forget in the Band of Brothers that fellow that got pranked. What was his name? And if you remember that leader that got pranked just before D-Day and he got demoted back to training instead of being a combat leader, I forgot that fellow's name. It was an actor that played on Friends that was playing him. Band of Brothers. So in this case here, if you chose to have that leader direct the fire, you would have to add +1 to your DRM, but you would prevent cowering. However, in this fellow's case, because he has green units, he can choose not to direct the fire, but by virtue of being present in the leader, if these guys do cower, they will only cower by 1 column. Whereas these fellows, if Clink does not direct the fire, they will still, by virtue of being conscripts, double cower, as opposed to being single cowering. So you have to weigh your odds of firing against these guys. Well, we only have a range of 3, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They would be halved and all the hindrances in the way, and then add a +1 for Clink. Would you pick double cowering over leader direction and adding another +1 to your DRM? So these fellows are in a bit of a pickle when they're confronting this guy. And basically, if you know what you're doing, based on if you do accept what JRD is saying is correct, these fellows are at an advantage vis-a-vis them. Running into 30 minutes. Look, guys, unfortunately, that's all I have for today. And it's part 3 or 4. I think my final video on landing craft coming next week will be a bit challenging to do because there is a lot of complicated rules, or I would say taxing, not complicated, taxing rules with a lot of exceptions. I'm not sure if I will be doing justice to landing craft, but at least we'll have a fast track overview of the rules and a few examples here and there. I would start by reading the examples and then reading the actual rules line by line and playing a few relevant scenarios with an experienced player in conjunction to watching these videos so you can get good knowledge of landing craft. Seaborne invasions and beaches is another thing that we need to look at. I want, after finishing this segment, to go back to a couple of after-action reports or live play, online play, with respect to a couple of excellent scenarios that I played from ASL Journal number 13. In addition, what I have is what I have in pre-order is Armies of Oblivion and Sicily 2, the operations manual. I love the map on Sicily. It's a beautiful work of art. So I hope to get that in my hands soon. I wish I could put it as a poster board up somewhere. Um, and uh, it looks like Doom Battalions might be my birthday present for me, myself, and I. We'll see what happens. Wishing everybody good luck. Roll low. I did that properly this time. And stay safe, stay happy, be optimistic. Don't let the blues get to you guys. And ladies, take care.